charges filed this week, 1 month after the life of a 20-year-old Milwaukee woman came to a violent end. CBS 58's Michelle Fiore sat down with the victim's parents today, and she joins us now live in the studio. Michelle.
Bill, Kania Brunson's mom calls her daughter her best friend. 2 men face charges, but the criminal complaint points to lies others told, and for that, Kania Brunson's mom is pressing ahead. Kania Brunson turned 20 in June, a joy to be around.
She can make you smile right away.
Brunson wanted to be an orthodontist or a vet, later learning she was good at making others look good, so she enrolled in beauty school.
She actually taught me how to put on eyelashes and do my eyebrows.
This is Brunson leaving home the morning of September 24th, texting her mom a smiley.
I wasn't even there 30 minutes and they called and told me her car was found. And I knew then, at that point, like, something happened to her.
The day of the murder, police say Brunson met up with a married man she'd been seeing, Sultan Sharif. Strangely, he'd reached out to Brunson's mom a week earlier.
He goes on to say, I want to be done messing with your daughter, but she's reaching out to my wife.
September 24th, a friend of Sharif's called 911 after he says he saw Sharif on top of the victim in Sharif's car and that the female stated, "He cut my throat." She was screaming and pleading for help. Police didn't locate the two then, but hours later were called to an alley near Keefe and Palmer where Brunson had been tied, shot, and then set on fire.
She was everything to me. She was everything, and this is the most hurtful feeling.
Police interviewed a number of people, including Sharif's wife, who claimed he'd been with her the night of the murder, which the complaint says was debunked through video evidence.
And they think that they're going to be out here and live their normal life after they, helped with this.
Sharif's brother-in-law, Johnny Allen Hopgood, is charged as an accomplice.
It's still hard to believe that she's not, here with us.
Bond for Sultan Sharif is $500,000, and for Johnny Allen Hopgood, it's $50,000. Both are due back in court next week. Reporting live in the studio, Michelle Fiore, CBS 58 News.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And I wanted to do a review of this because I feel like there's information that I can share about these types of situations that can stop this from happening potentially in the future and save somebody's life. Potentially their son, but especially their daughter's life. So before I get into anything, I want to say RIP to that young lady, and there's never an excuse to murder someone who is not attempting to murder you. I don't want to victim blame. I'm not trying to victim shame or any of that. So we want to get it out of the way right off the bat, and then for someone to delete someone, especially in the way that he did it, where you slice their neck and then tie them to a tree, shoot them and burn them out, set them on fire, that's a level of sickness. That person's going to hell. Like, that's a level of sickness that can't even be described. That's demonic. All right, him and his accomplice, they will end up in the lower realms. They will pay for their crimes in the physical plane, because once they find out in jail that he did that to that young girl, they're going to be on him, but also in the spiritual plane as well. So he'll be taken care of. But what I really want to talk about here is how you can keep yourself out of situations like this, because so many people, especially you ladies, end up in these types of situations, and I don't think you understand how dangerous they are. Now, I realize men can end up in a situation like this. As a matter of fact, one of my friends was probably like this close to ending up in a situation like this. A long time ago, he had a job, and he started talking to one of his coworkers who was married, and she was having marriage problems, and he ended up sleeping with her. Now, he committed 2 cardinal sins already. 1, he's talking to a married woman. 2, he slept with the married woman. But 3, we didn't even know any of this until we all went out together. Yeah, that's right. He took the married woman out to the club with us. We all went together, and then we didn't know until we got there that this was somebody else's wife, which I immediately said to him, are you out of your rabbit ass mind? 1, you're screwing somebody's wife. 2, she's a co-worker of you. 3, you bringing her around the homies. You can't do that. You're putting us all potentially at risk. I'm like, if this man finds out you're screwing his wife, he's liable to kill you. Not just beat you up, kill you. Not to mention you're playing with your money, because what if he comes to your job? So I need you guys to understand, this is nothing to play around with, okay? Boyfriend and girlfriend is one thing. And I'm not saying you should be smashing on anyone's boyfriend or girlfriend, because you shouldn't. But a wife and a husband is a whole nother level. The level of love you have to somebody to marry them, have kids with them, share all your resources with them, tie yourself to them spiritually and through the state. It's unparalleled. I already advise you guys usually against dealing with people who had a baby with someone, a baby mother or a baby father, especially if that baby mother or baby father is still in the picture in any capacity. But even in a situation like that, at least they've already broken up. We talking about people who are still together. You should never participate in an affair with a married couple that is still together. That is potentially life-ending. There's tons of stories just like this. But the reason I wanted to say especially women is because when I had that conversation with my mans, he went and cut her off. That was the last time we ever seen her. That was the last time he ever dealt with her. It stuck home. He was like, you know what? You're right. This is a stupid situation. He did what he did that one time, and that was the end of it. He wasn't trying to take this man's wife. I also want to point out, as is the case most of the time when we're dealing with men very rarely to never have the intention to try to take someone's wife. They usually just want to smash. The woman's attractive, she's lobbing it up, so they want to smash. The reason I say I especially want to talk to the women here is because ladies, just like the young girl in this video, 9 out of 10 times your emotions get attached. You get attached, you start catching feelings, and you start to think, wow, I could really be with this man. And what happens often is you think, well, if he's spending time with me, he's spending money on me, maybe he likes me more than her, maybe I could take him from her. And then what happens is when that does not work, you then go and decide, I'm going to blow the relationship up. I'm going to tell his wife. Now, let's take this step by step. Number one, ladies, a man is never going to leave his wife for you. I repeat, a man is never going to leave his wife for you, especially if you have to say something about it. At the end of the day, if he wanted to leave his wife and be with you, he would have done that. Matter of fact, he would have left his wife before he met you or shortly after he started dealing with you. When none of those things happen, the writing's already on the wall. Men are very careful and they have a very strict process about who they marry and why they marry them. They aren't going to leave their wife for anybody. That's number one. Number two, you guys always want to try to go out here and expose the situation. Well, I'm going to tell your wife you're messing with me. And I know what you think is going to happen. What you think is going to happen is the wife will leave the husband for messing around with you behind the husband's back. And then at that point, you can slide in and take her place. That's what you think is going to happen. But let me tell you something, ladies. That ain't what's going to happen. This is more likely what's going to happen. In the best case scenario, nothing happens. Most of the time, she's not going to leave the husband. All right. And she just, nothing happens to you. You lose all contact and they go forward however they go forward. Okay. In the second worst case scenario, right? In the second worst case scenario, the wife confronts you and whoops your ass. All right. In the third worst case scenario, the husband confronts you and whoops your ass. And in the absolute worst case scenario, the husband and or the wife kills you. So let's just use process of elimination and logic. You have one scenario where the best case is nothing happens and everything just goes as it was going. Okay, but you have 3 scenarios that result in you getting beaten or possibly deleted. So there's no situation where you should ever tell the wife the man's dealing with you or talking to you. The only time that's ever acceptable is if you're telling the wife the first time he attempts to talk to you or deal with you before you sleep with him. Once you make the decision to sleep with him, you're better off just shutting up. And it's not a pride thing. It's not even an ego thing. This is a life or death thing. Just shut up. If you did it and it didn't work out, which is not going to, by the way, I'm reiterating that again. Just shut up, ladies. Never go and tell the wife. It's never going to be in your benefit to tell the wife. Now, anyway, she goes and she tells the wife. Now that puts extra pressure on him. Now the whole situation's out in the light. Now he has to handle it because you never know what people got going on in their marriages, all right? A lot of people have open marriages. You have a lot of women who feel like, listen, if you're going to do your thing on the side, as long as I don't hear about it, okay, as long as you're not embarrassing me, I don't really care, okay? You got some women who feel like, rather that be because they love him that much, rather that be because they don't want to break up the family, rather that be because he has a bunch of money. These things happen. Once you say something, again, now you're taking it to a whole nother level. Now, we also have to look at, and I don't understand how this was ran past and where the police was at and why they didn't question this, but the man apparently contacted the mother and told the mother, I don't want to deal with your daughter anymore, but your daughter is now presenting this to my wife. She's talking to my wife now about this affair. To me, that was a last cry for help, okay? At that point, as a mother, one, you got to question why my 19-year-old daughter's even dealing with a 52-year-old man, let alone a married 52-year-old man, okay? And 2, if he's coming to me and telling me your daughter is talking to my wife, this means it's getting real. This means there's a high probability something bad is about to happen or he's losing control of the situation and he may possibly do something to my daughter. So number 1, I'm telling this man, don't contact my daughter anymore. I'm going to take care of it. Number 2, I'm on my daughter's ass, all right? Now, she's too old to whoop her or anything, but at the end of the day, she's still lives in your house. So guess what she's not too old for? She's not too old for you to control where she goes and what she does while she's under your roof. At that point, I'm taking her car back because you've showed that you're not responsible enough to be trusted to be left to your own devices and drive around and operate freely. When I gave you a car, you chose to drive around to a married man's house and play hanky-pank in the back seat with him, like, clap your cheeks, when you knew that he was married. You created this whole toxic situation. So now I'm controlling where you go. I'm only dropping you off to school, or I'm dropping you off to work. And until I'm sure that this crazy man is completely gone out of this situation, you ain't getting your car back. All right, you're also going to be on curfew. I need to know where you're going. I need to know where you're at. I need you to call me when you get there. I need you to call me when you're leaving. Because again, I'm picking you up. For the mother to get a call from this man saying, hey, I want to stop dealing with your daughter, and she's reaching out to my wife, that's a conversation you're supposed to have with your daughter. One, why are you so stuck on this man? Two, like I said, you're not leaving this house or going anywhere without me knowing where you're going or taking you there. And three, your ass is on the curfew. The mother apparently did none of that, and lo and behold, she drove her car, met up with that man that day, and that's how he got in a position to kill her. Mothers, you got to pay more attention to your daughters than that. That's a very weird situation. It almost makes me wonder if he's breaking the mother off some bread too, or if the mother was okay with the situation. Why did he even have the mother's number? I mean, look, I'm not a detective, so we can't go too far into that. But just in case anyone's watching this who does have young daughters or teenage age daughters, at the end of the day, we all know women in that age bracket don't always or usually make the best decisions with men, and sometimes you have to save them from themselves. At that point, the mom was supposed to save her daughter from herself and cut off all contact by any means necessary and do what she needed to do to make sure her daughter was no longer contacting that man. All right, we're going to leave why did he even have her number and why was she so comfortable with this alone, because we don't have all those details. But what we do know is the man reached out to the mother before he ultimately deleted the daughter, and the mother should have and could have done a lot more to stop that from happening. But ultimately, guys, married people are off limits in any capacity. In a sexual sense, completely off limits. That's it. That's done. That's done. All right. Usually, it only ends if someone getting beat up or someone possibly getting deleted. It very rarely has a happy ending. In the best case scenario, like I said, nothing happens. You skate off like my man's did, and nothing happens. Nobody ever finds out. Worst case scenario, someone's getting beat up, someone's getting fired, someone's getting deleted. Never, ever, ever sleep with somebody who is married. All right, just don't do it. Don't do it. It doesn't make any sense. You're not, ladies, you're not gonna take the man's husband. You're not. It ain't gonna happen. And telling the wife ain't gonna do nothing. But like I said, possibly get you beat up or possibly get you deleted. Just stay out of the situation as a whole. Leave it alone. If they married, they are off limits. It ain't worth your wife. You playing Russian roulette with your life at that point. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.